Hello, this is Dirty 20 Gaming. My name is Kevin. These wonderful people are gathered here with me this evening to play a wonderfully dark little campaign. And we will get to them and that in a minute. I know the sound is working because I got violins in the chat, so off we go. Thank you to everybody in chat. I appreciate you all showing up. I see some names here that we have not seen in a while. Thank you and welcome back. We'll get to the good stuff in just a second, but first... The art in this game comes from various sources. The character art, each of them brought their own this time, so you can see the credits for those in the corners. Thunderscape 7 did the art for Lucas, and the other two at the bottom are, I believe, Tokens, and then Aldith. Oh no, I didn't write it down. The credit is in the art picture. I know that it's on the art itself.
Middle Earth Enterprises.
Thank you very much, Middle Earth Enterprises, for that art, just to make sure everybody gets their credit. The background image that we cut the overlay out of is from Pixabay, and our very own Thunderscape 7, who did the Lucas art, also helped me cut the holes in the right places in that overlay and add a whole bunch of other stuff to that. If it looks like it's going in and out of focus, that's because it is. That's because we're using Astral as our virtual tabletop, and that's one of the many effects you can apply. If you want to apply that effect, is this starting to sound like an ad or what? If you want to apply that effect, you can go there and get your first month free of gold level sponsorship by using the code DIRTY20, and it will get you the first month of a one sponsorship by using the code DIRTY20. Hold on, I hit the wrong button.
Which wrong button?
Kind of like that, except all capital letters. Somebody else beat me to it already because I can't type. Use that code and you will get the first month of your gold membership free. That's all the credit, where all the credit is due. Now let's get to the people. Oh, I'm looking forward to this already. Look at these happy smiling faces of Doom. Speaking of Doom, let's start with Tathlan, being played for us this evening by the Doom Donkey. I'm going to start with you because it's already tomorrow where you are. Thank you for joining us.
Indeed. Thank you for having me.
And I know you've been streaming. I've been seeing the posts. What have you been doing lately?
Streaming, yeah, as you just said. You can find me over at Twitch, Twitch. I can't even speak. Twitch.tv/the Doom Donkey. That's the one. Yes. Or if you see my name pop up in chat, as if I'm chatting there, you'll be able to see any of that. I'm very loud. I'm a loud person. Hang on, if that is my end, I can try and fix that.
Well, thank you very much for that, and thank you. You brought your own your sound engineer, and I really like that too. To make up for that, Karis is already ahead of us and has posted your Twitch in our chat.
Why, thank you very much.
So I guess I better do her next. Karis, thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing the darkness in Aldith Haldane. You're one of my favorites because when you're not here playing the darkness, and you're doing it in a couple different locations, you've done it in Ironsworn, you've done it in other games, you do some really not dark stuff, and some other sort of moderately dark stuff. Tell us about that.
I'm a dotty and distractible grandma who plays Minecraft.
And that's what you keep telling the police.
There's a reason I have a splat emote. Yes! There's a reason I have a splat emote. A very important reason.
There it is. Oh, yes. And then you're also running D&D games, right?
I am currently the Saturday night cast DM for the Daddy Warbucks channel. I am, let's see. I think that's the only one I'm doing streamed at the moment. I am occasionally getting Adventures League games in, but it's been a couple weeks since I've gotten one of those in. And I'm remembering, Jacob, I am a contributor at the Scarred Adventurer.
Which
segues to him
beautifully right into the Scarred Adventurer, bringing us Lucas, I do not GAF, Warcrest to the game. Thank you for bringing that, and tell us about the website.
Well, the website, thescarredadventure.com, which I have placed in the chat as well, after I realized it was placed in the chat by someone much more competent than myself.
I'm sure. I'm on it.
Yes. I'm just going to stop doing it altogether now. But the Scarred Adventure is a lovely place full of wonderful people that are just creative types in most forms of art that we've got so far. We don't have any musicians. I really want to grab one of those, but I haven't. If you do music and you want to join the scarredadventure.com, please let me know. I sit here waiting tentatively for you.
Wonderful.
But aside from that, it's a lovely place full of wonderful, supportive people, and we haven't put anything up on for a little while. I'll try to pump the well to see if anyone's doing anything sometime. But also, I haven't been doing a lot on it because I just started school 2 days ago, and I'm very excited about that as well. So yeah,
Awesome. Yes, the real world is going well. That's good. That's a terrible segue, though. Playing William Sanguish for us tonight. I ran out of segues before I ran out of guests. Damn it! Thank you so much, Villa Villas, for joining us. You are also a very busy person, I know, inside and outside of the fantasy realms. What does your week generally look like?
When I am not working, I am generally sleeping if I can get it in. When I do have the time, I do stream on twitch.tv/villavillas. I know that we have to finish up the first Shadow Hearts as well as finish up Resident Evil 4. I have the next actually three days off, so we're gonna try to get through one of those if we can. And other than that, I go and do Dungeons and Dragons. I play on a Monday group that Kevin was actually from. We do that every Monday, and that is a group full of GMs. We go pretty much do anything that you could possibly think of to see if it'll work. Yes. And then talk about it afterward.
Yes. Oh, those were very informative days. Yeah, you try something and it's like, that didn't work. Why? And then get 5 people tell you exactly why it didn't work. It's a spectacular learning experience. On the other hand, when you make 5 other GMs go, damn, that was fun. It's like you wait till everybody shuts down, you go and have a happy dance in the corner. It's like, I did it. Plus, there was the constant one-upmanship. Like halfway through the person, you're next. And halfway through the adventure before yours, you're going, I need to do a rewrite. I need to pump this up. This is not good enough. It was great fun. But thank you for joining us.
Now I want to GM a game where the GM is just, and now you end up in the place that we talked about before, the place, and just very boringly explain everything.
Yes.
Very monotone wise, and then just watch everyone else have to compensate for your energy.
Yes. Just Stephen Wright, the GM. That would be great fun. Anyway,
I don't think it would last very long, but still,
it'd be good for a one shot. That's my answer to everything that's a little, that's weird. That'd be fun on a one shot. That's my way of telling you I don't want to see it in a campaign. But speaking of campaigns, look, a segue. We finished last week in kind of a valley right after a fairly large event. And we're going to start this week, and if I remember, we're going to start every week from now on with a bit of a recap, but done in a little bit different way. We did this with the Ironsworn game, and it was actually Karis that reminded us of this, and so we're going to do it again. We're going to start, and because it was your idea, you're going to get to go first. From your character's point of view, recap what has gone before.
I can take on bandits. I can handle mages. I can certainly manage civilians. But dragons? What the hell? At least there isn't a band of folk here, just these weirdos. Potent weirdos, though, and not very fazed about a dragon, so they certainly bear a second look. It might be worth sticking with them.
And that's all the time you've got, because you are being hustled into this hole in the ground by this man in his strange steaming armor. Tathlan, you did not have you had what I would suggest might be referred to as an ignominious first encounter with these people. So what is, sort of, from Tathlan's point of view, what just happened?
Oh, what a delightful encounter. At least found some food. Oh, and it's just so ripe. What we just needed. These Others, some of them have potential. Do I teach them? Well, we'll see. Maybe they'll be deserving. Maybe. This abomination is now speaking to me. I'll keep it out of my sight. It does not deserve my attention.
Wow. Some of them are going crazy. Some of them are already there. William, you also had sort of an odd start. Once you sort of dug into the combat at hand, it went well. But at the beginning, there was I won't put words in your mouth. You tell us.
All I wanted to do was track down these gnolls, get rid of them, and hopefully die in the process. Coming across these three folks, I don't care who they are. Maybe one of them would be good enough to give me a good death. A dragon. That'd be a worthy foe to die against. Unfortunately, it seemed to go and just get ripped right away from me. It wasn't strong enough. This man in the armor, I hope he can be the one. Please, unleash your weaponry. I'd love to peep your pedigree.
Whew. Which leaves us with that man in the armor. Lucas, you fell out of the sky. You got killed, basically. Got brought back by strangers. Explain.
Sorry, I fought a dragon. There were other people there. They seemed to have finished it off. Is this number 4 or 5? I don't remember. Is it 4 dragons or 5 dragons?
And with each of those thoughts in each of those heads, the man in the steaming armor beckons you towards this trapdoor that he's holding open. The vegetation on the top matches perfectly the lack of vegetation around it. When it's closed, you did not see it, even though you searched this area. There's fresh, cool air coming out.
That's different.
How do you respond?
Does this look like an entrance my horse could go down?
No. No, it is a ramp, but it is too narrow. Okay. Or it's too short to get your horse down. Okay.
In seeing this, I'm looking at this. I bring over Bernard, my Androsphinx.
Okay, yep.
Because why not? Bernard's a fine name.
It is now.
I lean in and I whisper, and I kind of whisper, you always know where I am. Take the horse and follow us.
Aldous?
And then I turn to Aldith and I say, and Bernard's taking care of your horse. Don't worry about it.
An Androsphinx is approaching your horse.
Should I pull a dagger as I glare up at that? I am not so sure I want taking care of my horse.
He's not going to eat it.
And Bjorn over to, what's his name over there? The creepy giggling guy.
Cutting up a dragon corpse.
Yeah.
Look, he's not going to eat it.
Quite efficient at that, don't get me wrong, but I'm not getting my horse anywhere near him. You want me to give it to... As what, lunch?
He doesn't eat food. Well, not your kind of food.
As if you consider that meal food, it's not deserving of the title.
No,
Why would you follow that abomination anyway? Why do you want us to go down into the depths of whatever abode you have?
No. Seems a good way to find out more about this place.
Oh, that's right. You have no idea where you are, do you?
Dude, I've been here for like 2 hours.
Abandoned. Yes. Oh, cast out. So important. Then to go follow the man. Then.
I mean, people were living here. Looks like not that long ago either.
Besides, I want to rebuild a kingdom. The best way to do that is get the lay of the land.
There is no kingdoms here anymore.
That's why I'm
Little
saying
man.
rebuild. I don't need one to be here.
Oh, he talks about rebuilding. Oh, how quaint. Well, by all means, go follow him then.
William,
Yeah, calculating look behind.
there's
her eyes.
this three-way sort of standoff over there. There's an androsphinx waiting to take a horse it doesn't have permission to take yet. There's this sort of battle of wills, this triangular sort of battle of wills. You're a pace away for a moment, sort of just you're not in it. You can choose to engage or not. What do you do?
William, who had thrown his axe away, is trudging over and grabbing it.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. Yeah, you walk most of the length of the dragon and find it buried in the dirt. Yes.
He's gonna go grab it, start dragging it behind me in the dirt, moving towards the figure.
Yeah. He's just patiently holding it like it weighs nothing. And you see it's sort of this thick. It's all heavy layers of wood. And then there's, for all the world, it looks like a layer of metal on the bottom. But if it was, then that metal door would be like 5 feet by 10 feet. And how's he holding that up with all that dirt on top and all that wood in between?
I assume there's some sort of clockworks or whatever with that steam.
But there's steam coming off of him, but seeing as how you mentioned it first, you look, actually, anybody who's paying attention, William, I guess you'd probably be the one that's like not in this three-way eyeball fest. I'll give you the first look. What do you, give me a perception check as you look over at this, because you said you're walking right towards him, so as you're just like scoping him out as you approach. 22. Okay. His outfit, his armor appears to be steam powered, but that's not engaged. I mean, it's engaged at the moment, but just in move mode. It's not powering this. What you see is this huge heavy door, and it's got a hinge at the back where it's open. But then instead of the metal sort of levers that you would expect to see, there's, well, I'll use the correct word, a plunger and piston arrangement. And there's a small
Like hydraulic.
amount of, yeah, exactly, except there's a small amount of steam seeping out of that too. But there's 2 steam jacks holding this door open. And as you look at him, you notice as you get closer, the what you expected from a distance is true. The human ends here. He is attached to this armor from the neck down.
One quick question I have about the world
Yes.
before it all went to shit.
Yes.
How was the proliferation of technology?
Where any of you were from, this is, like, steam technology is beyond anything you had seen.
Okay, so this is all like really weird things.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It is a technological level that you are not in any way associated or experienced in.
A true abomination.
Yeah, he keeps blowing steam. It must be an abomination. They do that, right? So, yes. I think William was the only one that was actively moving towards the door, right? Okay.
I'm still, yeah. Tathlan was still chopping up the dragon and getting all his good old meat chunks into his bag.
Absolutely filling the
Lucas
bag.
Lucas is going to turn around, just start heading over.
Okay. What are you going to do about
he's
your
also-
Androsphinx?
He's going to wave at the Androsphinx and basically just say,
Do whatever she says, just within reason.
And you head towards the door as well. Okay. And Aldith? The Androsphinx is looking at you.
How literally do you take instructions?
well, we take them about as well as we can. Look, I'm a lion with giant wings. Of course I talk. This is a magical world. Deal with it.
I have no problem with that. It's just you're a lion.
Yeah, but your
This
horse
is a
looks.
horse.
Look, I'm not even technically what I am. What I am is a weird part of him. The Irish part of him, for some reason.
It works. You know, Fae type stuff has an Irish accent. Huh?
Yep.
But look, the thing is, he doesn't eat. I don't eat. Basically, the best thing I do is I feed off of emotions. So the most I get out of your horse is a little bit of a worry as it's flying through the air.
Well, what do you think, Bjorn?
I'm not sure what the horse equivalent of raising one eyebrow is, but that's what you get.
Does Bjorn seem at all alarmed or anything?
No. Now that you pay attention, I mean, that's a hard ass horse. This horse got through all of this apocalypse too, right? This is a bad horse, but yeah.
Well, he's pretty bad tempered too. He and I
Yep.
get along great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also,
So the weird metal steaming guy said something about another dragon. What are you gonna do to protect my horse if another dragon appears?
well, I'm made of shadow, so essentially it'll just look like a cloud with a horse in it. Look, it's going to be fine. We're just going to fly exactly above you and circle around if we need to. We're just going to be, I guess what we would call it is a world positioning system. WPS is if you want to go with an acronym of some sort. Look, if he has a fixed point I can follow along, and it'll be fine. If he calls, we'll deal with that.
Whoops.
Whoops, yes.
Oh, okay. I'll trust you with my Bjorn. Since he doesn't seem too alarmed.
Excellent. And just picking him, he starts. Bernard starts flapping his wings. Just picks up the horse, big pair of paws, and just starts moving upwards slowly as to acclimatize the horse.
Bjorn and Bernard. This wasn't supposed to be a comedy, but there goes a flying B&B. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Happy now?
Trudge along behind the red armored guy.
okay. So, first one to the door, William. As you get closer, you feel this. I mean, it's almost a cool wind. It's very dry. And when you look inside, the light inside isn't flickering like a flame. It's pale blue.
Blue light.
You're muted at some.
Anything that you're saying, we can't hear.
As I draw closer to this figure, does he go and make any aggressive movements?
Not at all. In fact, he sort of steps to the side to clear the way. And as you get there, you see a ramp that goes down, lit with these blue strips along the walls.
As I go, William goes and turns his head and just keeps him in his eye, but just kind of continues walking. He doesn't care that he turns his back, but he's just kind of keeping an eye.
Yep. There's water down in the common room.
I don't need that.
And he just turns away to the other ones and lets you walk through. You start to head down. I'll get back to you in a second. Next one is going to be Lucas, and with Aldith in tow. So again, you get close.
Aldith does no more than just step over the threshold.
Yeah, well, we haven't even got you guys quite to the threshold yet.
Yeah.
But yes, Lucas and Aldith, the two of you approach, and again, you feel this cool air, cool dry air, which is really uncommon. This is a dry, parched wasteland. And this weird blue light. And as you get closer, he looks at you and the two of you and says, I haven't seen anything like any of you. And he kind of looks over his shoulder down as the dampier disappears into the area below.
Are we supposed to take that as a compliment?
No, just a statement. There's water downstairs if you need it.
Cool. By the way, is there a good way for a horse and a Andrew Sphinx to come in? Like a bigger door they can come in through?
I can open up the hangar once we're inside.
Sounds good.
Briefly.
Hanger.
That's all they need.
Well,
Whatever this hangar thing is.
and he gestures under his arm, holding up this door.
Lucas just goes in.
Lucas walks in. Aldith, you said you want to stop at the threshold.
And I kind of look over, I look over at the creepy guy butchering the dragon.
Yep.
I look kind of curiously. And I kind of look speculatively down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You see Lucas walking
But
down.
they said
this
something
bracket
about
tube.
opening some sort of thing, portal thing.
Yep.
And I want to be there for my horse, so I will continue down
You can-
in.
so you-
And then
you
I'll
wa-
look speculatively at the guy. Are you? Does he? No, he's all metal and steaming and stuff. He doesn't look a piece of that village above. A village.
Not
around
at
us.
all, no.
What did you do with the people who live here?
They're down in the common room. It's where they always go when the dragons come.
Dragons. How often do you get dragons?
Kind of depends how often you piss them off. And he looks at the dead dragon being chopped up by your comrade.
Well, so if you're underground and the dragon was underground, the dragon wasn't underground with you?
It's probably easier to show you how that works than to tell you.
Okay, and I'll sort of hesitantly enter.
As you step in, he looks up at Tathlan, now the only one left outside. You're still chopping? You're still taking a
Still
seat, Bart?
chopping away.
Absolutely. He looks at you and says, stomp on the door if you want in.
Will someone else be answering it other than you if I do? Doesn't
Nobody
even turn
else
to look
can.
Well, in that case, I won't be seeing you.
Bring the carcass in, whatever this portal that the horse and all, and the flying thing are coming in.
Out of character for storytelling reasons. Does Tathlan should he go down here at some point? Because I will do it. But
That's absolutely not necessary. Nothing in my games ever is.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Tathlan's going to keep
Thank you for
butchering the
checking.
dragon.
But, yeah, you keep butchering the dragon. As the trap door starts to close, you hear the of this demonic steam. Just using your words, not mine. As this door starts to close, and as he backs down, he looks at you and says, "Mind the bugs."
I will as a
Bugs?
ready
What
action
bugs?
question mark.
Sorry.
I'll be Tathlan will keep an extra eye out. I do have a 21 passive
Yeah.
perception, but
Yeah.
it's like we keep
Oh,
an
yeah.
extra eye out because he has said an extra dragon. Now he said bug, so but
Yep.
Tathlan is going to completely be ignoring him.
Absolutely. You are just stuffing very, very highly nutritious and exotic, high-end
Self-refrigerating.
dragon meat. Yes, self-refrigerating. You're right. Absolutely. Yes, self-refrigerating meat. Magnificent. So you stay outside and the door closes. Let's do you first, because that way I don't have to give away the common room yet. Tathlan, you are cutting, and I mean, it's basically like I'm assuming it's like a fish, right? You're not gonna make a 160-foot fillet, so you're probably cutting giant steaks this way. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you're hacking your way through this. It's still cold, even though this thing is dead. Its natural innate coldness is still pouring out of it at you. Kind of reminds you of that gust you got when he first opened the door. And that 21, your spidey sense triggers, and something at the tail of the dragon is moving. I mean, that's 50 meters away from you, the way it's crashed and bent and lumped on the ground. But something is moving at the tail of the dragon, but you're going to have to sort of come up for air to see.
Well, at the sense of that, Tathlan is going to try and be as quiet as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to do a stealth check as I go to investigate the situation.
I love it as you creep down the side of this dragon.
That did not work. There we go.
There you go. Stepping through the rapidly congealing blood. You ooze your way along the side of this dragon and get to the back leg and kind of look under the arch of where the back leg and the body are. And way down at the tail, still 10, 15 meters away from you, the ground is all torn up, and the tail actually goes into the ground just a little bit. And it's kind of moves a little bit.
Does it look like something's like pulling it?
As you think that, is something trying to pull this dragon down a hole, one of the scales comes off, punk, and disappears down into the dirt. And then at a different spot, something starts pulling on the tail.
But there's no actual like thing here, right? It's just like it looks like it's getting
not as of right
in.
now. Whatever is doing this is underground still.
They're taking it, of course they are. What? Bounty this big, of course they're taking it, aren't they? Take what you can, then. Take what you can. And Tathlan's going to run back to the head and basically gouge out the eye that he had shot the arrow into. And basically gouge that out, take that, put that into his backpack, and just basically observe what's happening for a bit. If it seems like the whole thing's going to start being moving, he's going to go where the door was, but stand right on top of it, not stepping his hill.
Absolutely not yet. Yeah, I get that completely. As you run back and you cut out the eye, and as you turn and look again, you see coming out of the ground is what looks like a millipede, but it's this long. And it comes up onto one of the scales, and you see that instead of mandibles, there's just a giant round sort of toothed sucker, and it latches onto the scale, and you see it pulse a couple of times, and then it moves and starts to do it again. And the third time it moves, you can see the first spot. It has sucked all the color out of that white dragon scale, leaving behind something that sort of the look and texture of a dragonfly wing. It's like an aphid in a leaf. It's just sucking all the color out of it. And you see more and more of them starting to boil up onto the back of the tail of this dragon.
Tathlan is going to sit down essentially and just kind of like observe it, going to not trance, but you know how elves trance, kind of like sit down and just kind of like watch it as all these bugs go over. Keeping an eye out to make sure that none of them's actually jumping up towards him, but that's why he's sitting on top of the thing, because he knows that there's not going to be something popping out of there.
Yes.
But yeah, essentially he's going to be observing them consume this dragon.
Absolutely. What you notice very quickly is they're not eating the meat. They're only eating that pigment out of the scales. So as they work their way up, you can start to see the meat inside the dragon through the transparent scales.
Could I do a nature check or something like that to if Tathlan has any idea of this, like the texture of the scales, or is any of any importance?
Yep.
I mean, I'm not even good at nature, so I don't know why I asked this, but let's go.
Absolutely. Never let your stats tell you what to roll.
So let's tell the dice.
5.
Yeah, 5.
It looks for all the world like a dragonfly wing. You can see the sort of veining in it. The only thing I'm going to give you with a 5 is it slumps slightly. When they work all the way across and create a seam, it kind of goes at that spot. So whatever they're doing is taking at least the brittleness and hardness out of it. You don't know with a 5, you don't get the texture. What's left. However,
Yeah,
as they finish an area and move on, they don't hang around. So the tail is there. They're sort of 5 to 10 meters away, working their way up the body.
Yeah, Tathlan's just still gonna keep observing, just
Mhm.
sitting down there, just watching them as they take out. Because you saying they left the meat in there. Well,
Yes.
guess what? Tathlan's got something else to do after this, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. You watch for a little while, and that moves and moves and moves, and you can see more of the tail under and through these now transparent scales. And then that spidey sense twinges again, and you can feel on a hilltop on a horizon over here, and you look, and there's 3, then 4, then 5 wild dogs starting to just line up on the ridge.
And here come the scavengers. Take away everything, don't they? You've got the meat. Just go inside and say hello. There might be more. There might be more. Put that abomination out there. Just do it. And then, almost against his own will, he'll slam his sword into the onto the door to make a bong
Yep.
sort of sound before slowly kind of standing off and almost like just walks off of it. And just just looking at the dogs and kind of just staring them down, waiting for the door to open.
Absolutely. And the door starts to open behind you. And at that, we'll use that as the moment to cut away to these three. Williams, you see this first. You get to the bottom of this long angled ramp. It's not stairs, it's a smooth ramp. By the time you're at the bottom, your eyes have almost accustomed themselves to this blue light. It fluoresces from the walls in places. It is absolutely constant. There is no flicker at all. And as you get to the bottom of the ramp, you sense this room in front of you. It's brightly lit just like the rest of it. And the first thing you do is you hear and smell people. They're talking amongst themselves. They're yelling at their kids to sit down. There's the smell of food. There's the smell of unwashed bodies. There's people down here.
William's taken aback because
Down the hallway with your axe dragon behind you.
he's been out in the wilderness on for as long as he can kind of remember, and he doesn't really stop in many places. Like generally when he gets there, it's tracking like a Knoll band.
Yeah.
So he can go and take them out. And when he does come across civilizations, usually they've been ravaged by Knoll bands.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of, horrific sights left over from that. And he kind of walks. You see, he kind of goes and he's dragging the axe behind him, but it doesn't have the strong grating sound that you would. It's actually got kind of like a lighter, tin to it, as he's not actually
Okay.
putting, some force into it.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
he's just taking this moment to kind of walk in and see this room in kind of like disbelief.
Yeah. You get to that door, that open space, and you can see there's a groove that goes all the way around at the end of the hallway, and you kind of look in and you see panels, and you realize if somebody pushed on the other ends of those, they could be sliding doors. And you look ahead of you into this room, and it's kind of incongruous because this is at first you take it for stone walls, and then you realize it isn't stone, it's metal. A whole room, 10 meters on a side, all metal, with these blue strips lighting it all. The floor, the ceiling, all exactly the same material. But then camped in the middle of that is a bunch of dirty, stinky, smelly, half-clothed, half-fed, plate-haired with the mud, surviving humans. And ironically, right behind them, you see a glass window in a wall, and through that window you can see glass containers with what looks like water in them.
Taking a moment to look at the room, roughly how many people are in there?
You kind of, it doesn't take long. There are 19 people down here. Just as you finish that count, Lucas and Aldith, you come up as William sort of slowed down to process this at the gate, at the door. The two of you come down next and see this. At least it explains the lean-tos upstairs.
Aldith does a quick evaluation, looking at strength, hardiness, health, kind of like a gem merchant would look at a bunch of gems and evaluate those if they came across a bunch. So what does she see?
Let's give you, because it's your job, let's give you perception with advantage to literally evaluate this group of people.
Perception.
And then the delayed roll for advantage. Yes. On this sheet, they're sorted by the skill that they are based on, rather than an alphabetical order like most sheets.
I was trying to do it through DDR.
Oh, of course. Yes.
There you go.
There it is. Wow. 24 out of 25.
A 19 and a 20.
Yes.
This is my job. This is what I do.
You immediately, I mean, there's a gold piece value that just you might as well be wearing Google glasses. It's just like 5, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, 5, silver piece, throw it away, kill it. We're not worth feeding. You go through the process. And at the end, when you do the math, there's no way these people should have survived. There is no way that any of them has any skills that would have kept them alive in this world.
So her stance kind of shifts a little bit to get a little bit of arrogance in her step. And she moves a little bit, not like she's pulling her whip, but almost like, her hand wants to go there.
Yeah.
She's doing rapid calculations.
Absolutely.
I mean, this lot is even weaker than the last group.
Lucas.
When have these people last been fed?
They're eating right now.
Okay.
There are several fires in this, incongruous as they are, in this room, and there are pots of gruel, for lack of a better phrase.
Okay.
They're eating.
All right. And do they seem well fed, or is it something more along the lines of
they're not.
They look starving.
You and I, if we saw them, would go, "Oh my goodness, they're dying." But for this world, they're doing all right. And again, they shouldn't be. You're looking around going, you could wipe them all out without ever drawing a weapon.
Lucas is going to, as soon as he can find someone, he's going to look at the food stores and then potentially add to them.
Okay. You look around and there's no sign of like boxes or crates or kegs.
And that's not what I'm
anything
looking for. I'm looking more for someone who would appear to be kind of taking a leadership role.
Absolutely. So you're looking for their sort
I'll
of.
be clocking the leader, whoever seems to have authority here.
Yeah, I mean, in this world, you guys would make a living off of knowing who's the boss in any group, in any of you. So yes, the leader is very, very obvious. He's sitting near one of the fires. The two of them actually. It looks like they're probably the oldest couple in the group. They're sitting at the major fire, and they're obviously making decisions and telling people what to do and that sort of thing. They're also doling out the food.
I'm walking directly over and then beginning to prepare to question.
Before Lucas walks over, what is the room's reaction to seeing us?
They look up and see the three, first you, which is quite an image, and then Lucas, which is also quite an image, and then Aldith, who is also, clearly this is 3 killing machines lined up in a row in the only door to this place that you can see. And surprisingly, they look up, they look back down, and they go back to what they were doing. They're aware of you, but there's no pulling back. There's no fear reaction. Lucas walks by you out into the room.
They have the makings. Let's see if they are.
I'm going to follow 5 steps behind him.
Behind whom?
Behind Lucas,
Okay.
as he's striding up, as if you had a warlord with their enforcer coming behind them.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. William? The other two have walked into the room.
He's just kind of taking just kind of still absorbing it all, really.
Yep.
I mean, this is probably the first large group of more than like 2 people he's seen in years.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a well, actually, no, not give me, because you're not looking. What is your passive perception?
Williams?
Yeah.
19, I think.
Yeah. Okay. You feel the presence of this person behind you start to fade, and you hear their footsteps going back up the angled hallway behind you. About 2 seconds later, you hear boom from the far end of that. Yeah.
He didn't last long.
And do you stay there at the threshold, or do you step into the room?
He'll step into the like past the threshold, but
Yeah.
he's kind of observing, and he's just kind of keeping an eye out on the group. He is looking to see if anybody's armed.
Daggers, knives, no obvious weapons, no, nothing bigger than that.
And I know Eldith, she did like her purview of the room. For William, no one really stands out as like, this is, possibly a person that might be trouble in like a combat sense.
Exactly the opposite. As you scan for opponents, right? Who would I take first, right? That's the sort of the fighter approach. If this goes south, who do I go after first? None of them.
He'll walk close enough that he can kind of hear what's going to go on, but he's not really going to engage at the moment.
Absolutely. Back upstairs, outside. The bugs are working their way forward. The wolves are starting to work their way down the hill towards the other end of this dragon. And the door behind you and lifts up.
Athlan, kind of like keeping his own gaze away from the thing, is like, the meat will be tainted soon. The wolves, they don't understand. Filthy things. Do not speak to me. And I'm just going to walk right past and just go down.
Mm-hmm.
But as
Yeah.
I pass, it's like, how on earth can you do such filthy things to yourself? Disgusting. Oh, disgusting.
The door comes down behind you and he looks at you and says, I'd explain, but you told me not to talk. And he turns and just starts walking down the tunnel.
You spoke to me, you filth. Get out of my sight. And Tathlan's just going to stand there and wait for him to go down the rest of the hallway and get out of his sight before he even moves.
Absolutely. He goes all the way down and into the room, leaving you at the top of this ramp. You can smell down at the bottom all those people. There's a bunch of people down there.
I smell people, you say?
Yes, I said that specifically.
Yes. Tathlan sort of just like, now that is quite a bit more like it. And then he's gonna open his eyes and walk down this hallway very gracefully as he enters the room and very quickly observes everybody.
Yep. And you do that same thing. I mean, you're used to scanning a room and going, nobody in here is worthy, but these people are really like they're not even worth the scan, right?
So it looks like food. I mean, appetizers at least.
Luckily, there's so much stored already. Oh, dear. Better than that filthy horse, at least. Saying out loud, by the way, just
Yeah.
in case Aldith has any kind of super hearing. But yeah, Tathlan will enter the room, and since I'm guessing a bit of like a down, like we'll just kind of like be standing near the door, just watching everything instead of actually doing anything.
Yep. So you and William are sort of relatively close to the door. Lucas is heading all the way in, and Aldith is following Lucas. So I guess that gets back to Lucas at the middle of the room.
Yep. As Lucas is moving,
Yeah.
he's taking his sword off his back and putting it in such a position where it's clear it's not threatening.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he's walking with it so he can put it down eventually,
Okay.
slowly. But his armor seems to kind of melt into him almost.
Okay.
The armor just continues to go in. Let me rephrase. It doesn't melt into him. It kind of condenses. It starts to
Sort of shrinks down around him, or
I don't really know how to explain it. It's the armor kind of segments and starts coming apart and
Okay.
just kind of folding into itself.
okay.
Kind of like an Iron Man kind of thing, too.
Exactly.
Almost. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. To the point where it's just a nice, and it goes to the point where it's a nice pair of red metal shoes, and and then his arm, of course,
Yeah.
that was once torn off is now this just piece of metal, black and red. And it's still not metal. It's just this chitinous, sinewy material.
Yeah.
As he just gets ready, he's in a fairly simple attire
Yeah.
that stops. It's like a t-shirt but medieval almost. It's
A tunic. Yeah.
sorry. It's a bit of a peasant's tunic that he has the shoulders rolled up, sleeves rolled up too, and just everything else is very simple, very
So you start walking in with that, with Aldous behind you.
humble.
Yep. Tathlan, you see that change happen, and then that metallic prosthetic arm. What do you mutter or not mutter under your breath as you see that?
Why did he get the blood? He was not worthy. You knew this. Why did you do it? Oh, but he fought. He fought. Yes, that's the only reason. There's potential. There's potential in some of them. And then as he says that, he's going to be looking over at William Sanguish. He's like, that one is the interesting one. It's all still very out loud in case anyone wants to be listening.
Okay.
In
William kind of goes and arches an eye over to him for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And Olive is so startled she stops and stares open-mouthed at Lucas.
Sure.
It's all natural. None of it's metal. I just lost it. So I had to replace it. Stretches. And by the time because he knows he's not been paying you very much mind as you've been walking behind him. But I definitely noticed when you stopped moving. Out of just more of a habitual sense.
Yeah. Not to mention a high passive perception.
No, actually, his
No, that's
passive
me. I've got a high
perception
passive.
Yeah.
My passive perception is absolute garbage.
Oh, knuckle cracking ASMR. I know for a lot of people it is exactly the opposite of that. Sorry, engaging chat. Yes. As you step up to this older, and I mean older, not elderly, but an older couple, you hear them giving very practical advice to the people around them, like, no, move the kids around to the other side of the fire. They don't need to smell like smoke in here. There's no bugs, things like that, right?
As Lucas finally approaches this
Yeah.
couple, he puts his sword down into the ground and it just sinks into the floor a bit.
It should, but here
He's going to find a line,
Yeah.
and any
You
spot
try,
he can.
and you try, and it's like, no, it will not go.
then he just lets go and just watches
Yeah,
it stand
it's
perfectly
going-
upright.
Yep, that it will do. It will balance on its point, but yeah, it will.
Oh, it's not even balancing. It's a different thing altogether.
Oh, because of the shape of it. Yeah, but either way, yeah.
No,
it's
not
just
because
sitting-
of that. It's still it's magic.
Of course. Okay. So yeah, it's on the floor, standing on its point, but it cannot penetrate this floor. Eldith, you stop, and this steam knight, for lack of a better name, steps up beside you and says, "We'll get your horse in a moment." I'm not going to have to kill any of you, are I?
So Aldith turns and gives an assessing eye on him. Now, she hadn't considered him from a merchandise perspective before,
Mhm.
but now she will evaluate him from a merchandise perspective.
This is a one-off. You have never seen anything like this. You've heard of Warforged, but they don't have human heads. This is different. It's also steam-powered, not magic-powered. It is something completely out of your experience, and therefore, to the right people, priceless.
And I am going to use my, I am going to evaluate him from a,
An insightful point of view?
whatever that thing was I had.
Oh, the
Like the
magical
battle
thing.
master.
Yeah.
That the battle master
No, it's not-
observing.
The
Oh,
battle
yes.
master observing.
Yes.
So, similar to above, he talked about having to kill us. So,
Yes.
fighter level, is he dex or strength based? What are the obvious weapons? If he's going to suddenly draw an attack, what's he going to attack with? Is the evaluation.
As you're scanning, it's like he sees you, and there's a series of small sort of motions, and you see weapons appear and then disappear back into his arm. You see a small crossbow sort of pop out of the back of one arm, load with a shaft, and then unload and go back into his arm. The answer to all of the questions is above you. Every stat that, because it's better than you, the same as you, or lower than you, right, in those stats. Above you to the point where the strength of a giant, the speed of a rogue, the constitute, like, you can't imagine being able to hurt this creature with anything short of a lava flow. It suddenly occurs to you the reason why the people don't have to be able to defend themselves. This guy is doing it.
So, after looking him up and down,
Mm-hmm.
I sneer, of course not.
Unit 45213. Not. Definitely not. At your service. There's water over there, and food in the pots.
So, Lucas, having gotten to the couple, has
Yep.
gotten down on one knee and is showing as much respect as possible
Yep.
because he recognizes they're not royalty in any
No,
stretch of
not at all,
in
no.
any stretch, any way that you could imagine it. But he knows that you show respect to the the commander, whoever's in charge. Really.
Yes.
And of course, being a prince, he doesn't just do that. He snaps his fingers and says, "I have a gift." Snaps his fingers, and essentially he casts create food and water,
Mm-hmm.
which I just nope, that's the wrong thing. I
But
create
either way.
45 pounds of food and 30 gallons of water
Okay.
in containers.
Wow.
And
Complete
sorry,
with
in containers and in
yeah.
bags.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh.
I
The-
thought you might be running low.
The lady looks at you and says, I was just about to offer you some stew. Is that steak?
Some of it. We also have some cured hams and other food that will last for quite a while. I feel that prolonging your food stocks is more important than the food itself.
Oh, thank you. We do fairly well with 45213 helping us, but it can always be better. And you look down at the stew pot, and what was, from a distance you assumed was sort of gruel. You get there's big chunks of meat in it. There's fresh veg. They obviously don't eat that well all the time, but right now down here they're eating that well.
Yeah. Well, still, Lucas has come with...
Oh yeah, there's a ton more food that you've given them.
Yeah, and even airtight containers with things that are kind of bred,
Yep.
so that they don't mold over time.
All kinds of stuff that will last, absolutely. That's wonderful. Why are you doing this for us? What do you want? None of them are for sale,
I'm not asking for you... for sale?
Never mind. What do you want?
To show my respects, and ask, if I may, to learn more of this place.
I'm not sure what there is to learn. We live up there.
If I may, I am not from this land. I have come from very far away. And I am not familiar with the customs, the land itself, the history, or the day-to-day lives of people like you. And to understand and to achieve my goals, I need to know these things.
None of those things exist anymore.
And why is that?
The wars?
As I said, I am not from this land.
There was some
I fell
wars
from
that
the
made
sky.
sense, and then there was some wars that didn't make sense because it was just everybody fighting, and then there was the disease and the pestilence and the death, and how can you not know?
I fell from the sky 2 hours ago.
Glad you said 2 hours, or I would have thought maybe this was your fault.
I am no god, ma'am. I am here to kill them.
Oh, well, don't do that around here then. It's bad to kill powerful things. It just brings more powerful things. That's one of the many things that he taught us. Not that
I
we're
do not
capable
mean-
of killing powerful things.
I understand that by killing them, something more powerful would take its place. But there needs to be a lesson that these are not gods. These are just powerful beings that have toyed with your lives and forced you to live in misery.
We're lucky to be alive at all, I guess. And with their help, and they point to the knight, there's no reason why we shouldn't be fine.
It is good to know these things.
Will you be staying here?
Edging
Yes.
back towards the other two.
Okay, I was just going to ask what Aldous thought of this, but yeah, so
Aldous
Lucas...
thinks this is too bizarre for words. And
Yeah,
he's too
yeah,
charismatic.
just
Those
fading
two
away,
creepy
yeah,
guys
absolutely.
are normal
Yeah.
compared to this, whatever
Compared
this
to
is.
that changeling that just did the thing and now is another thing altogether, yes. So Lucas, this whole conversation has been with the lady. At this point, the man pipes up and says, "You fed us. Are you staying?"
I do not know.
I guess you could stay in the stone hut.
I do not need a place to sleep. I need very little. I am here more to give than I am to take.
And there's kind of a pause, and the lady says, "I hope you understand that that sort of attitude is going to be met with a certain amount of," and he finishes the sentence, "skepticism."
If I may be true, There is one thing I wish from you.
Here we
What is the
go.
thing? But it is the thing I do not know that you can give. So I will not ask it of you, merely tell you what it is. I wish to rebuild my kingdom. I wish to rebuild a land of prosperity. I wish to build an army. And I know this will not happen immediately. So what I do first is I start with kindness. And hope that you might agree one day to be led by me.
Maybe one day. We don't need a leader right now. And he kind of looks around you at the knight.
I know. I merely wish to put it in your mind. Thank you for your time.
The lady says, needed or not, you're having some. And she hands you a wooden bowl of their stew.
I was just
Sit.
about to ask.
Sit. She demands that you sit. She is go full grandmother mode.
As you wish, my lady.
You sit down. Across the room, the three of you, the two of you see Aldith backing towards you, first of all.
Actually, as soon as Lucas spawned all this food in,
Yeah.
Tathlan would immediately be like, disgusting. And then, like, basically turn to William.
Yes.
This is actually an open question to everybody. Are Dampiers obviously Dampiers? Would I be able to
have
tell?
actually never told anybody that I was a Dampier. I thought it was just Kevin kind of slipping.
Yeah, it's
Oops.
like Kevin's like,
My apologies. I thought we knew. So, yeah.
yeah. What does William wear? Because he's kind of like wearing this all raggedy sort of like shirt and clothes, right?
Yes. Very, very like raggedy shirt. It's got holes in it. You can actually see he's got a very, very thin frame under him. Even his, pants are like torn. He's got some like boots that are you don't know if they're like mismatched. You don't know if he like found them just randomly somewhere or whatnot. Probably picked them up from a ravaged village. You can your passive perception was 21.
21, yeah.
21. I would say probably towards some of the holes in the bottom of his shirt, you actually see he actually has a very large, very ornate looking belt on. Kind of like, I would say probably looks like almost like one of those like WWE wrestler belts ish.
Yeah.
And
you mean a cummerbund.
Big gold.
but that's kind of like hidden below his shirt. And along with his like stringy hair, you actually see he has a very, very nice like silvered headband around his head.
Oh, well, Tathlan's gonna sort of like peer over and start actually walking to you after seeing Lucas defile this place with his unholy food. And basically says like, and sir, what brings you around to this area? Why were you looking for the oasis in such filthy clothes? Where did you even get those? Didn't decide to dress up when you woke up the morning the world ended?
No, I got no one to impress.
Now that's the right kind of attitude. No one to impress. So why do you wear the belt?
The tool, nothing more.
Efficiency. You didn't answer my question. Why did you come here?
Tracking a Knoll band.
Knolls. Oh, how lovely. Simple, brutish, tracking them. Why?
To kill them. Why else?
Oh, there's plenty of reasons why to hunt gnolls. Some of them can be quite smart. Tell me, what do you do after you kill them? Do you just slaughter them and leave everything? Or do you be smart about it?
No. I leave them in the dirt to die.
So close, you almost had it. You see, Noel's very ferocious, and you've got an air of the ferociousness about you. You would think that you would be one of them if you if you were born differently, you might have been one.
Maybe.
Hmm.
Maybe one day I'll know.
And you
Anything's
are
good
better
enough to
than.
put me in the ground.
And so, what makes you better than the gnolls?
I'm still standing here, aren't I?
Exactly. And so, why do you leave them in the dirt when they could become part of you?
I have my reasons.
That's not an answer. So you clearly have some talent despite your fiendish apparel, but there can be glory behind it. You wear raggedy clothes like gnolls, you go chasing them in the desert, and you leave them in the dirt. At least the gnolls will consume what they have wrought. You just leave them there pitifully.
I do.
You have a bit more to learn, but you have the right mindset. I will teach you, and you will learn. Unlike that one giving food, giving food to these people.
I agree with you there. Killing
Okay.
gods. He died fighting a dragon.
Yeah, he thinks he's from a different place, and all gods despise him. And he's like, oh, I hate them. Yet he lets himself be lorded over by their despite of him. Oh,
I do think
Yeah,
that he is from
potential.
somewhere elsewhere. After
everyone's
all,
from elsewhere
given-
in this world.
Giving more than you can take. This is a world where you're gonna get cured of that very easily.
He will learn one way or the other if he can survive that long. Died by a single dragon.
I'm going to have eaten the food and just walk over and say, "Why take? Why get? Why keep what
No,
you do not need?"
I'm gonna
Never mind.
let them have their scene. Sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I just-
yeah.
I have an interjection.
You have
As
to get
Aldous-
past me first, and I've
Yeah.
left you with your crazy conversation
Yep.
to get turned back to this crazy
that-
conversation.
And
Yeah,
as
it was-
yeah.
Aldith walks up, Tathlan will like basically stare her down, and he's like, "And what do you make of this one?" Still holding onto the hope, the friendship of an animal. Oh, it takes something to have not eaten it yet, but at least you've got some pride, and that you won't eat that kind of filth. Definitely saying loud enough so Aldith hears this as she walks up.
Aldous, you hear that. You also hear the knight say, "You expressed an interest in seeing the hangar."
And Aldith will look Tathlan up and down and turn away to the Steam Knight and say, "Yes, what is this thing? I would like to tend my horse."
Well, come with me and I'll show you. And he turns and walks towards a wall. It doesn't appear to have any features on it at all. And as you walk away, as you get closer, you see the wall physically change in front of you, and the outline of a door appears, and it's clearly attached to him. As he approaches, the door appears and it opens into another of these long blue-lit hallways. And he steps through and he stops, and you realize that if he keeps walking, the door is going to close. He's waiting for you to come through with him.
I'll step through.
You step through and he steps a couple steps further, and behind you, these doors close. At least from this side, you can see their doors. The three of you in the other room just see Aldith walk through this door with the knight and be gone. Aldith, he walks you down a long hallway, very quietly, waiting very patiently to see if you say anything.
No.
Okay. You get to the end, and there's another door, and as he approaches, it slides open. And you can hear an echo of your footsteps gets so much bigger. And as he steps forward, his heavy metal clanking on the metal floor, you can start to hear an echo of his footsteps coming back from this room. And as you take those last couple steps, this space is massive. You could put a town in here. It's 100 meters on a side at least.
What is this place? And doing some quick calculations on how far we went down a ramp and then
Yep.
here, does this seem like this would fit under what we saw above?
Just barely. It looks like this is right to the ground, so it would appear that this whole area is artificial, the ground above it. He says, I told you I would show you this earlier. Watch. And he reaches up, and as he reaches for a wall, a panel appears on the wall. Again, it's his proximity that causes it to happen. And he hits a series of buttons, and above you the ceiling cracks and starts to slide open. But the dirt above does not fall. You can see the roots of the grasses as these giant doors, massive doors, the entire ceiling of this room opens. He says, see? And you look up and there's a pale blue shimmer. A force field, if you will, holding up the earth. He taps a couple more.
Okay.
Yeah. He taps a couple more buttons and a small opening opens up in that earth above. It's like it's shoveled aside. And that area of the blue screen drops. And an androsphinx carrying your horse comes in. Spirals down. And lands in front of you. Beep, boop, 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 and everything closes above you.
Hello there. We got to quite the conversation, the two of us.
Oh, okay. And
I mean, it was mostly like talking to a brick wall, but you know, sometimes it would huff and do a thing, you know.
You asked why the dragons couldn't get in here. They
okay,
can't
well,
get through that. And he points at the blue shimmer.
That does sound normal for Bjorn. Does Bjorn? How does Bjorn look like he's taking this?
You know Bjorn really well. He's a little shaken, but he's not showing it. Like he's trying very hard to be cool.
Okay, so I take his reins and pat him and start looking around for something that might look like a stall.
That's not what we used to keep here. Before they were all destroyed, we kept our ships here. But we can find a
Yes,
place.
That puddle is not enough water for ships.
Oh, these ships don't need water. They fly.
Oh, Lucas will be excited to hear this.
Oh, okay.
And he starts tapping onto his keypad again, and a trough slides out full of water. I can do this at least.
That works. And I'll nudge Bjorn that way, and I'll start removing
All the
saddlebags, saddle.
Absolutely, yeah.
Guarding. I'll start, taking that off. And this is going to take me a while to brush him down good. And
Absolutely. Yep, so that's going to take you a while, so you're going to be gone for a bit. Meanwhile, back in the main cavern, the night is gone, the door is closed. Lucas, you finish your meal?
I say thank you, even though I couldn't taste any of it. Look, there are downsides to not being able to not
Yep.
needing to eat.
Yes.
You just
But the three of you find yourselves in with this tiny village of people that shouldn't be here. They shouldn't have survived. There's only one reason they have, and he's not in this room right now.
Are there any other clear exits to this place, or is it just looks like from where we just came?
The only one that appears to be permanent is the one that you came through at the bottom of the stairs. That is still open, and that hallway still leads up to the surface. You don't know how to open the door at the top, but that is still open. The door that Aldith and the knight went through has ceased to be visible from this side.
This is quite the interesting place. The Guardian is gone, but there is no ripe people here. They are far too underfed. You, William, you will learn. I will teach you. Out of this place, we've got better food. Out there, couple dogs, no problem. Other dragon coming. Where was the other dragon? How does he know? How does he know? And then Tathlan is going to walk down and find the first person he basically encounters.
Yeah.
Would this person be sitting or standing?
They're sitting. They're having their evening meal essentially at this point. So yeah, sitting there with a wooden bowl.
Tathlan's going to stand like right next to, like on the side. It's like, you stand.
Yes. Okay. It's a.
What do you know about the dragon?
23-year-old young man. We come inside every time one shows up.
How often do they show?
My mom says it's when the kids misbehave, but I think that's crap.
How old was this person?
Early 20s?
Your mother. Oh, pitiful. They haven't even grown up. How often do you come down here then?
Every time the dragon shows up.
Where is your mother?
Over there? And she
You
points to...
stand and come over here.
There's a
And
brief
then I'm gonna
pause, and because you raised your voice, everybody kind of turns and looks at you for a second.
Tathlan does not care.
And they sort of start looking around, like some of them are starting to look for the knight. Seeing that he is not there, the lady in question stands up and comes over and puts her hand on the shoulder of her child. Says, yes, is there something we can help you with?
How often do you come down here? And don't say whenever the dragons appear. How often does that happen?
10 to 12 days in between?
10 to 12 days. Has there ever been two at once?
No, but one time 45213 killed one and another one came almost right away. And we had to come down here anyway.
And so how does he know there's going to be another one? What does he tell you? Does he speak to you at all?
He tells us that we shouldn't leave the village and that as long as we stay close, we'll be safe.
Why does he protect you?
I don't think he's got anybody else left to protect.
You think an abomination like that has any kind of feelings? Why does he protect you? What are your usefulness? You're clearly
Expendable.
disgusting.
Lucas is slowly armoring up the entire time. This
We
has been
just
going
start
on.
to rebuild, yeah. It's... He doesn't have to. I think he
I know
just
he doesn't
wants
have
to. He's a soldier. He's...
Does he eat?
He calls it charging, and he won't let us see him do it.
Charging. Have you ever heard a creature called charging? What kind of meat is that?
William?
Oh, he was talking
Assuming he was
William?
talking to you. Yeah,
I was talking to William.
Okay, okay. I've never heard of it.
So he still eats. Does he drink? Where did you get the plants? Meat, it comes and it goes. Where did you get the plants?
The garden.
where is the garden?
Through there. And she points at a completely blank section of wall.
How do you open it?
He does.
So you can't.
No one can but him. You
What
can't
a
even
little
get out
power-
unless he lets you.
What a little power fantasy this guy has. This filth. Why? Why would something that looks like that have any use for you troglodytes?
He keeps saying he failed before and he won't fail this time.
He thinks the thing has feelings still. How long have you lived here?
Her whole life.
Who is
The daughter.
22? Yeah.
The daughter. So like just over 20 years.
And where were you before this? Actually, our world question: how long has the end of the world essentially happened? Like, how long has it been?
The war started about 100 years ago. The devastation, the absolute devastation, was 60 to 75 years ago.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Back-
where were you
then
before
go
that?
back
Is
to
a
the questions,
legitimate
yeah.
question, yeah.
Yeah.
Wandering? We found this place just as I was about to give birth, and he took us in.
Was the dragon attacking when he took you in?
No. In fact, we've spoken a number of times. We have no idea how he found us. We were wandering. We didn't even find the oasis. He found us and brought us here. Said something called his censor found us?
Okay, enough. Quiet now. I don't wish to speak to you. And then Kathleen's going to walk over to where she originally pointed out where the garden was and just basically
Yeah.
inspect the wall.
Try to find the... Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
You start looking and you find... nothing.
Buckets, I'm
Just
guessing.
a metal wall. Yeah, I'm not even going to make you roll. There is nothing to be found.
Yeah, Tathlon's going to spend his time just investigating that until, I suppose, Droid Bot comes back. Unless, of course, William or Lucas start speaking to him, but, you know,
Yeah.
that's essentially where I'm going.
Yep. Speaking of William and Lucas, let's start with William. You just saw this, or you're watching this encounter. As Lucas, you see coming towards you, armoring up as he approaches. I assume you stop for your weapon on the way back?
Oh, I just pick it up on
Yeah, on the way
route.
by.
It's
yeah.
it's the same route I took essentially.
Yep. And yes, chat, I have been using words that did have double meanings. It's great fun. Censor, hanger, they all have other meanings. Fluorescent lights, never mind. William.
Lucas is coming towards him, applying his armor on.
Yeah.
Can I incite the intent?
Sure. What, Lucas? Tell us
I
what we
don't I don't think you need to even there's no rolling for this. It's
Yeah,
just
I didn't think you were hiding anything,
it's,
so yeah.
it's a very clear intent of get the hell away from them. This is not our place.
William just stares you down. You got a problem?
Lucas doesn't even recognize that you're there until you actually say the words.
Yeah.
This is not our home. We are visitors.
From the sounds of it, you're the only visitor here. This could be my home.
Then start acting like it.
Oh, I suppose a bit of cleaning is in order.
Not quite what I mean.
Then
You
mind
see
your
someone-
words, whelp. He just walks past him.
Lucas?
There, except for a brief moment when you pass by Lucas, for some reason you feel stronger for a few moments until you pass a little further past him.
Oh yeah, chat. This party's worst enemy is going to be this party. That was never a question. Eldith. You're in the hallway. You've seen that Bjorn is fed, and you're coming back with the knight, right? Heading back towards the main chamber. Oh no, you were going to be gone for an hour. Never mind. You're
Well, not an hour. It doesn't
well,
take that long
sometimes
to-
you were
to
Bjorning up
horse.
anyway. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
maybe 20 minutes.
in that
Burning
case,
down.
he stays with you. You see him stop for a moment, and it's like he's hearing voices that nobody else can hear. And then he kind of snaps back and looks at you and says, "You look as though you have all the trappings of a soldier. Is that presumptuous of me?"
Who was asking whom that?
Well, that was the knight asking you. He stayed here with
Asking
you.
me. Oh,
yeah, asking
okay.
Aldith, yeah.
So it's not one of the guys asking Lucas, for example.
No, sorry. I was not clear. Yes.
Aldith looks up in surprise. No, I have never been a soldier.
Your bearing is very, perhaps I misread. You fought for causes, though, right?
I have fought for survival.
Ah,
What do you fight for?
I don't know. "45213 was not my name, but I cannot remember my name."
When did you have a name?
Before the war, I had a family, children, friends, a job. I made shoes. But I don't know my name.
But name is just a label. People's circumstances change and they may take a new name. Take a name for now for yourself as you wish it.
You give me a choice. And yet, the only answer I can think of is 45213.
So, if it bothers you, you could take a name that represents your current role, or you value your old role, maybe Father Shoemaker.
But that's not who I am. And he reaches up in the metal hands, grab the metal chest. That's who I was. Is there anything you would
Turns
die
and leans
for?
back. I try very hard to stay alive. I have not yet met something that I would value higher than that.
If you no longer had to worry about staying alive, what then? Would you care then?
I don't know.
They'd all be dead without me, every single last one of them.
So why do you preserve them?
Do you know the amount of shame that goes with losing an entire regiment? We were defending the last of the Platinum Dragons. Tamara herself, the mother of Bahamut.
Do I know any of these names?
Bahamut originally was the only Platinum Dragon. And
right,
he,
but
yeah.
does Aldith know?
Yes, these are names from your
Karis
world.
knows
Yes,
these names.
yeah. So yes, these are names from your world. You would have recognized them absolutely. And we failed, and she died, the last of the metallic dragons to do so. And 49 of my troop died with her.
I think anyone alive now has had some sort of experience losing everyone. We're kind of all that's left.
We were supposed to win. We were built to win. We were the good guys.
I don't even know what that means. You've survived. How is that? What winning more do you want than that?
That's why I keep them alive, so I have a purpose. Because when this dies, and his hand clangs against the armor, or when this dies, this whole place locks down and waits for reinforcements that are never coming.
And Alda thinks back to those doors that only he opened. And so those of us who are in here would starve, suffocate.
He has just explained to you why he is not afraid of anything that you might do to his people. Because you're not getting out without his permission. Not even permission, without him. And if you kill him, you'll never get out.
Why them?
They were here.
So your purpose is preserving a random group of commoners?
That gathered around a leak in our condensers, yes.
Okay.
The pool outside. It is leaking from our failing infrastructure here.
So what do you intend with those of us who just entered?
I expected to feed you and let you stay the night. In the morning, assuming the other dragon hasn't arrived, they and you will all go back to the surface. I will monitor the situation from down here.
So you simply provide a refuge from dragons to whoever is nearby.
And whatever else there is to be afraid of. I am built to protect.
What do you do if the other what do you do if the other dragon arrives?
The people stay in here. If they are caught on the surface, I go out and I kill the dragon.
Why do dragons continue to come here if you are effectively denying them food, so there is no food here? Why would they continue to come?
The earthquakes. The earthquakes draw them. The time of the full moons approaches.
Okay. The last earthquake that I encountered was the dragon emerging from the ground, however.
It appears that way, but it is not the case. The earthquake happens first. The dragon rushes to leave the swirling earth.
Where is the dragon before that?
In its cave, in its caverns. It is those caverns that are being shaken by these earthquakes and driving them to the surface. At about this moment, you and all three of the others, as if on cue, feel the entire building start to shake. But it's slow, like it's been dampened, like you're on springs. And you can hear and feel the earth cracking and groaning around you in huge movements as this entire block that you're in just vibrates slightly.
So is that another crevice breaking open for another dragon?
That is a sign that tonight the moon's paths will cross.
Is that out of character? Is moon's paths crossing in any way meaningful to Alden?
There is rumored to be a second moon, but no one has ever seen it. It is rumored that it was part of the wars, but no one knows for sure. I'm just going to cut away for a second. Back in the main room, the three of you, the earth shakes. The people ignore it completely. A bit of food slops out of the stew pot on the ground.
When the ground shakes, still looking at the wall, does anything change with it?
I was just deciding whether to give you that, and I decided yes. There is you smell electricity like a lightning bolt in the distance. Burnt, we would call it ozone. The smell of, and burnt rubber. You don't know what that smell is, but there's a burning smell. Yeah. And a fine crack appears in front of you, a couple of, maybe half a centimeter wide.
Does it stay there, or does it go with the...
And it's there, and you can smell coming through it. You can smell green. I mean, you can smell vegetables and water and manure and soil and living, breathing plants.
At that, Tathlan is going to turn back to the group. Is William looking at Tathlan at all? Is he just doing his own thing?
William was walking over to inspect the wall as well.
Okay. Oh well, in case you're right there at the
Lucas,
crack. Is like,
were you following them, or were you going elsewhere?
No, Lucas is making sure people are fine and
right, taking care and
seeing
sure
that they are
fed.
fine. It's
So Tathlan's going to pull out a dagger, almost menacingly straight away. It's like as William approaches, like, we can crack it open. You grab it, and then stab into the little crack and start trying to pry it open.
Yep, William.
Unbroken dagger.
Yeah, you see Tathlan grinding away on this, and you can hear the whining of something's resisting that grind. some mechanism inside the door.
I have a hand axe that I don't mind losing,
Yeah.
potentially. I'll go and kind of like swing the hand axe in and start kind of like turning the hand axe
Yeah,
to kind
absolutely.
of widen this gap.
Between the two of you, and then there's just this moment where it gives, and the door just goes, and it gets slightly offset, and you can, it's jammed. It can't quite open, it can't quite close, but there is enough space that if you wanted to, you could wiggle through. But it's absolutely clear enough that you can see in. And beyond it is maybe 2 or 3 acres of hydroponic garden, essentially. There's just thin strips of soil. There's water misting in the air. The light in here is a completely different color. It's much brighter and more actinic. I love that word. It is just intensely bright in here, and there's just row after row after row of plants. 2 or 3 rows of corn, 2 or 3 rows of potatoes, a whole section where there's a very shallow water with rice growing out of it.
Wow.
And the hum
Yeah,
of what we would call fans going on in the background.
at it, yeah, cracking open is like,
And whoosh,
And the
the
air comes back
humidity
in.
just pours out. Yeah.
how interesting. And Tathlan's gonna go walking on in and start just basically walking up one of the aisles, very carefully inspecting everything.
Yep.
Definitely not grabbing any of the food though. But
No. I'll give, without any roll at all, I'll give you this. It's weird because it's identical. Every corn plant is identical to the one next to it. Every cob is in the same spot. The ones that have a slight discoloration at the end, every plant has exactly the same discoloration. The potatoes, the 17th one in the row is slightly smaller than the other ones, but they're all exactly the same.
Tathlan's gonna take his time by just pacing like up and down each of the rows, very much taking in the fact that these are probably cloned plants, but
Yes, yeah.
he would have no idea what cloning is.
No.
So
But they're
Basically,
somehow exactly the same. Yeah.
yeah, walking up and down. Is there any like you said? There's like mist. Is there clear like pipage and
There
like constantly
isn't,
dripping down?
There isn't so much pipes as there are these little holes in the ceiling that seem to be misting water.
Are there any other doors? I mean, obviously these kind of doors don't really normally appear, but does
No.
Tathlan see any clear doors? No.
Once you're in this one, there isn't a door, but there is a window way in the back, and it was kind of hard to see through the mist. But you said you were walking up and down.
Yeah.
As you get close to it, you look through, and it's obviously a cold room. There's something in there keeping this area cold. Maybe it's a white dragon blood or something circulating through the walls. But whatever it is, there are slabs of meat on tables. But they're not identifiable. It's not a thigh. It's not, a half a cow. It is a rectangular slab of generic meat product just sitting on a table, frozen.
That would actually interest Tathlan at the very least, and he would basically like go inspect it using his good butcher knowledge.
Absolutely. So
It's
you
kinda
head to
just
that
like-
window, yeah.
It's like so it's through a window that all this meat is in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, he's looking at it and just not being able to identify it. You almost like recoils, but it's like filthy. And there's no clear door into this, just a window. Does the glass
Just
look
from
big?
here.
Like
You can
does
see
it look like
when you look in through this window, think like a sort of 1 meter by 2 meter window into the side of a walk-in freezer.
yeah.
And as you look in, you can see through the frost on the inside. There is another door, but you'd have to go back into the common room and go over and find it. So you're in the pantry. You need to get to the freezer.
Yeah, it would be disgusting. How's it being cold? He knows there's dragons always coming. Are they always the same dragon? Are they always the same dragon? How is this place fueled? Tathlan's going to walk back. I'm guessing this would all take a while for Tathlan to do, so
yeah.
if the other
Yep.
people do anything during this time, feel free.
We're gonna cycle it all through. Don't worry. That's my
Yeah,
job.
so yeah, after that, Tathlan's going to be walking back to the door, which I'm assuming is still jarred open because
Yep.
you said
It's broken. Yep.
yeah, and essentially like re-enter the room and see if this abomination is still within Is it
Absolutely.
within sight? And if he's not within sight, well, that's a thing that's going to happen.
As you head back towards the door, we're going to cut to William. You watched Tathlan go into that room. Did you follow him? They were in there for a couple minutes, so do you follow them in, or?
Yeah, I'll go in the room for a little bit and kind of
Yeah.
like look around the room, and I see these rows of all these plants, and
Yeah.
and I kind of look towards the ceiling and see the little hole in the ceiling. Could I? How do I want to phrase it? Get a little bit more insight into the process. I do have proficiency in survival. Would that give me a
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Give me a survival roll. I like this. Ooh, that's a
Ooh.
1. For you know what? I haven't done it all day today. Go ahead and give it with advantage. I want a better roll than a 1 out of this. That's better. The system is pretty basic. You know what plants need to stay alive. They need water and light and a certain number of nutrients. What you're seeing here is a fake environment, right? It's a created environment. You can tell somehow they've got water in the ceiling that's misting through. Maybe there's a big puddle up there and there's just tiny holes that let it mist through. I'm not going to give you pressurized piping from a 17, but it is, what I will give you though, it is of a piece with everything else here. In other words, you don't get how it works. You understand what it's doing, like it's applying water, it's applying light, there's obviously nutrients in the soil, but for the life of you, you cannot figure out why it works or what is going on here from the technology side, because it is technology and not magic.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
As he kind of like goes and ponders this, did Tathlan, you kind of like had a little outburst when you saw the window in the back, right?
Definitely out loud, yeah. If that's what you're about to ask.
It will draw your attention, yes, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of draws my attention. I go and look in there
Yeah.
and see the window.
Slabs. Yeah.
How thick is the window?
You kind of do that thing where if you go to the side of a window and kind of get a really steep angle on it, you can almost tell. You can see at least the thickness of the glass in the frame on the other side. And you tap it. It appears to be real glass, and it's about maybe a centimeter thick, a little less than half an inch. You put your hand on it. It's cold. It appears to be just regular glass.
I'll give it kind of a push, not like a douche, but like a can
And
this
like I
thing
said,
wobble a little bit?
It's a meter by 2, so 3 feet by 6 feet. You put your hand in the middle and push. There is definite give, like there would be with a sheet of glass.
And you said this was just kind of like
Look at the
rectangle-ish
They're all
pieces of meat.
Yes, yeah. Weirdly, they're like they fit the table that they're sitting on. There's no organs, there's no fiber, there's no muscle formation, there's no bones. It's just a mass of meat. A rectangular, sharp-cornered mass of meat on a table, frozen solid.
And does anything else in that room stand out?
There's a number of tables with that on it, and then on the back wall, there is a bunch of hanging. You can see them. They look like chickens and other poultry, but they're at least recognizable as real animals. Almost hellhounds, but they don't freeze Wendy's burger patties. That's, they are sharp cornered, but technically they don't freeze them. So
Like White Castle, they got the little holes in them.
yeah. It's for the ketchup. It's not designed to make it look bigger. Foodie meats, yes, from Cyberpunk. Yeah, generic meat slab.
Ooh, taking a look at this, William actually just kind of take a glance at Tathlan, and he's just kind of has a like upraised eyebrow. Like, what the hell do you make of this?
Yeah, as you would have heard from Tathlan, just been going, it's like filthy, disgusting, and then do like it's like, how's it cold? Is it always called dragons? Why is it always called dragons? And then that's when he starts walking out. You would have heard him say that as well.
You turn
so.
to walk away. William?
He'll kind of go and follow. Let's see here. You said corn, potatoes,
Rice.
We'll say
yeah, the staples.
rice.
Yeah. I was so sure you were going to break that glass.
William will actually go and reach down and grab one of the potatoes.
Yeah. Healthy, strong, big.
He'll take a bite out of it.
Yep. Crunch. Yeah, it is a very tasty potato.
Okay. All right. He'll continue walking out the room.
With that crunch, the two of you head for the door. Lucas, back in the main room. Feeding the many. Yeah.
There's really not much Lucas wants to or needs to do at this moment. Really,
Yeah.
Me as a player, I wish I was talking to the five. Oh no, I've forgotten his name.
45213.
45213.
Yeah, well, he's coming, but we'll get to that. It's almost 8 o'clock, so yeah.
Oh, I know.
For the moment, you are back. The camera cuts back to the main room, and okay.
Yeah.
The two main characters, the older couple, and you, are now a sort of a triple threat in the middle of the room. So they've not adopted you, but they've accepted you as someone who is helping.
That was the major point of what I was trying to
Okay.
do. So yeah,
Perfect. Mission accomplished.
And highly against that,
Yes.
Tasman barging in
Yeah.
is 45213.
Yeah.
Is he in the room at all?
Not yet. No.
All right. Tathlan's going to stroll straight up to the original kid that he first talked to, the one that basically grab him by the hair, pull him up. He's like, "Get the abomination. I need to speak with him."
Lucas, he takes a nice two-pronged fork that came with everything.
Yeah.
And just throws it, very clearly missing you, but still also just going right in front of your eyes.
Okay, so throw it in your general direction. Yeah.
Actually, you know what?
Make a
Give me an
roll.
intimidation check. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see. Let's do
Okay.
this.
Yeah. I
Intimidation
never
check?
call for.
Yeah, and
I
I'll
never
do a
call for
wisdom
rolls
saving
from
throw.
P on P, but let's see. Yeah.
Okay. No, I have to click the things.
17.
17 to the wisdom saving throw. That's going to be tough to beat. Although, intimidation might be a
Because
thing.
this go one or two
13,
ways.
No,
and
unfortunately, no. So
yeah, as it just flies past,
He's not even
Yeah,
trying to intimidate. He's more
No.
just trying to
just get your attention. but
back
either way,
off
yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Tathlan's going to, but
Yeah.
still works for the same way how Tathlan will react. Completely ignores it. And he's
Yep.
like, "Get him." Does the kid do anything?
The kid just stands up when you're grabbing the hair. The mother kind of reaches forward like she's about to do something, looks at you for a second, and stands up beside her daughter, but doesn't directly intervene. At that exact instant, Aldous.
Sorry, Lucas is going to cast one more spell. He's going to do one other thing,
Okay.
and this time he's going to lob a bread roll to harmlessly bounce off.
Okay.
But with that bread roll, he casts darkness,
On the bread roll. Okay.
causing is it a 60 by 15 feet? No, a 15-foot radius sphere around that area where it's just black and nothing.
Okay.
Ooh.
You are now completely unseen in the dark with two humans, and I'm going to give you a week to think about what happens in that darkness. 2 weeks. Two weeks. I'm going to give you 2 weeks to think about what happens in that darkness.
Okay, I can answer that right now. But
I know you can, but I'm going to give you 2 weeks to get the wording right, which is my
Oh.
way of saying it's 8 o'clock and it's time we have to stop this time. I know I want to keep going too, but it's 2 hours every time. So we leave our party. Aldith, you've just finished prepping your horse for the evening. Bjorn is ready to settle in, and the two of you start to walk. You and the knight, 45213, start to walk back up the hallway. He's still got a couple things he's going to say to you, but we're going to save that for 2 weeks from now too.
So Bjorn, Are you going to eat all of that food that you got there?
It's got no
I
food,
don't
only
need
water.
to eat, but
Only
it's
the water
crunch,
drop. Yeah.
crunch,
Oh,
mine.
Yeah.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
all right. I mean, it
And-
mostly looks like vegetables, and it's not for me.
Oats, mine. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Although I wouldn't say no
and
to a
in
big
that scene
carrot.
where no one can see it, in the dark hangar, we will drop the curtain on this week. Thank you all so much. It was all combat last time. It was no combat this time. We will see what happens next time. Oh, thank you all so much. A scarred adventurer. Thank you for bringing Lucas the unfazed, who's starting to get phased just a little tiny bit. I love it. It's perfect. Thank you so much.
I've been adopted into the people.
You
I
have.
need
You
to
could
help the
stay. They
people.
would absolutely keep you here. 45213 is going to be my new locker combination. I
There's
am
a small-
honored and flattered, and you just told 9 people, so do it at your own risk.
This is just one small. I almost wanted to cast something like Searing Smite on the red roll.
Oh, I was
And then
expecting.
toss it.
I was fully expecting this to start next season or the next game with a fight, but we didn't happen. So instead, something much worse is going to happen in the darkness. But
Oh,
thank
this
you.
is-
I got to finish my thank yous. Villa, thank you for bringing William this. An interesting version. You're as far as I've got this figured out so far, you're the sociopath. And we'll get to the psychopath in a minute. But at this point, you're basically the sociopath. You're seeing things very practical, and I really like this character. I've seen you play lots of them, and I'm really interested to see where this one's going to go when somebody finally pushes you too far. So thank you so much for bringing William to this game. And I'm sorry I outed your dampier.
You're good. It was bound to come out at some point.
It was. Oh, yeah, from the sociopath to the psychopath. Tathlan, I love Tathlan, and in the real world, I would wait till Tathlan is sleeping and kill him in the fucking dark with a hammer.
Oh well, he's an elf, so he trances. He doesn't sleep.
Yeah, so much for my plan. But thank you so much for bringing this well and truly psychopathic character to the table. I love it. You don't give any damns at all. There are no fucks to give. I love Tathlan to pieces.
Very much enjoyed it.
I hate him in the
Thanks,
real
Evan.
world, but he's a great character. Thank you so much for bringing him to the table. And Aldith, as badass as Aldous is, Karis, thank you so much for bringing this character. They're the only one in this group that is still human. The only one that's got this sense
Yeah,
of...
the slaver is the only one who's still human.
Yes, the slaver who literally evaluated the room for their cash value is the only one with any sense of humanity. And if you are the moral compass for this party, we are all in for a ride, and that is exactly why I asked each and every one of you to be in this game, because this is for people that will go down a spiral playing yes and instead of going up a spiral playing yes and. You go, oh yeah, I can do better than that, and I'm loving where this is going, and it's about to get downright nasty. But that's for 2 weeks from now. Thank you to everybody in chat. There was a lot of you tonight, and a lot of you hung around all night. And thank you to the new people. I'm flattered that you stuck around. I'm flattered that you joined us. And we will see you in 2 weeks' time when we come back. Thank you so much for joining us.
Come next week for
Mhm.
Talk the Talk.
Yes, next week is Talk the Talk.
Plug your show.
But I'm not
With
quite
this
done
guy.
yet. I'm not quite done with this yet, because there is still one more group of people that I have to thank, and it is the people that watch on YouTube. So if you watched all the way to here, hit that like button, please. And if you want to see the rest of them, hit that subscribe button, and you will get the ones even when I post them and forget to say that I posted them, so you will still know. And until then, there is the YouTube channel there. And the other thing you can do is you can find all of us and all of these wonderful people over at our Discord channel. Somebody also beat me there too. The same somebody every damn time. And yes, the Dirty 20s. Look at them all. Look at chat taking care of me. It's like the family I never had. What a wonderful group of people. And with that, Yes, next Friday, our talk show, Talk the Talk. I didn't mention it because I still don't have a topic, but never mind. We still got 6 days.
Yeah, I can come up with one.
We'll come up with something, and we'll get some guests, and that's like 6 days. I got lots of time. But we also have our shows the other 2 nights of the week, tomorrow night and every Saturday for the foreseeable future. Oh, no, that's not true. For the next 2 Saturdays, there's only 2 left. Cathedral Deep ends 1 week from tomorrow night. They get to the top of the cathedral and find out what they're here trying to stop. The ritual that they've been fighting for 7 weeks will finally become dirt clear in the next week or 2. And then after that, stay tuned, because there's been a hint before, and there's been another one-shot, but a game that has been on this channel before is coming back, and that's all the clickbait you get for today. So, until next time, please be nice to each other. Good night.